Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Emily and this is Ansley. Today we're going to be painting loose flowers in watercolor, no drawing required. And this is Ansley's first time painting flowers ever. Let's try it. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
So let me just show you an example of kind of what we're going for today with these flowers. Here's some little flowers I painted a couple weeks ago just using paint. We don't actually need to draw anything, and I will show you how easy these are. So first we just need to make sure our paints are wet. I'm going to spray them with my spray bottle.
All of the paints.
We'll probably be using some greens, some yellows, and some reds for the most part, and maybe this dark brown here.
Ooh, or that turquoise.
You want turquoise? Okay, so we've got our paints ready to go. And each of us has a round brush. Ansley has a Princeton Neptune size 8 round brush, and I have a Danube artist quill brush size 8 by Creative Mark. And all you need is for this exercise is a round brush and some paint. Oh, and some cotton watercolor paper. That's also important. If you want to get the same effects that we're going to be creating today, you do need cotton paper. This is a cold press paper by Stonehenge. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start by taking a dark flower color. So I'm going to start with this deep burgundy and dab the tip of my brush in the thick paint. And I'm going to just paint on 3 tiny little dots.
Okay.
With that thick paint. And make them really close together because this is going to be the center of the flower. Did you wet your brush first?
Yes.
Look at how wet my paint is here. This is important to make it really thick and wet, almost like a big puddle. So I think you need a little more paint on there. I'm just taking the very point. That's a little better. Make them a little further apart so they aren't touching. Let's fix these. Okay, this is turning out to be a little harder than we thought. So see how we're painting these dots here? You gotta kind of make a little teeny tiny circle. And then we rinse your brush. Okay, you got your brush? Now I've rinsed my brush and I'm making sure it's kind of wet, but not too wet. And I'm gonna take my point of my brush, stick it in one of those dots. You ready to watch? Stick it in one of those dots. Now you try. Not too wet,
No water.
but keep it really pointed. And I'm gonna wiggle, 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 and leave it like that. No paint, just water. Because the paint is coming from your dot. Watch it again. So I point at my dot and I wiggle, 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 wiggle. All the paint is just gonna flow out of the dot into the water. And you can turn your paper to make it work too. Point to the dot and wiggle, 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 wiggle. Yeah, try another one. Do you know what we're making when we do the wiggle?
A flower.
We're making the petals. So I'm gonna do another dot, not touching the other ones. Gotta be careful that it doesn't touch the other petals. So maybe you would put one right here. And then you wash your brush, really, really good. Take some of the water off the edge of the side of your jar.
So it's not too wet.
Not too wet, just a little wet. And you touch the tip of your brush to that dot and you wiggle, 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 wiggle. Yeah, those are actually nice. Does that look like a flower? I think so. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. And I think 5 petals will look pretty nice. Take up some of that water. You probably have enough, so you want to start another flower over here, maybe in a different color. So again, start with 3 little dots with lots of paint with the very tip of your round brush. So the point is, make sure the tip of your brush is touching the dot before you start to wiggle. That pulls the paint into the petal of the flower. Watch me again. Take the tip of your brush, grab some of that paint and wiggle, 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 wiggle.
I think I need to pick up some of that water. Here.
This is proving to be more challenging than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
They don't have to be perfect. That's the point. And then rinse your brush all the way before you do the wiggle, otherwise you'll have too much paint in there.
I'm taking some of that water away and then taking it in the room.
So how many petals do your flowers have?
5.
Let's try to do 5. Yeah. And you might have to see how I'm kind of twisting my paper around to get it better. You might have to move your paper around just so you can reach.
That's not in glue. Do you think that's good?
Yeah. Okay, let's try another one over here. I want you to try painting your dots this close together with the very tip of your brush. If you need to use your smaller brush, that works too. So to get the best control with that tip, look at how close I am to the tip.
Okay.
And I think you need more paint. And see how I kind of go side to side so that it comes to a point, so it's not like that, but it's pointed. Okay, hold it super close. And you can rest your hand on the side of the paper for steadiness. What do we start with?
The dot.
Yeah, do the dot first. So go back and do the 2 dots here. You might have to hold your brush higher up so it's straight up and down. And do a teeny circle. Little circle. And do another little circle. Okay, now rinse your brush
Rinse.
all the way. You gotta hit the bottom of the jar so it gets super clean. And see how I'm dabbing this side to get all the extra runny water off, but still keeping it pointed. Now start at the very tip of your dot. Let's turn this one. And hold it like this. And wiggle, 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 wiggle. Dry your brush a little bit. Pull some of that water up. And make a point. That's a good one. Okay, now try it with this one. Rinse your brush again. And then touch the point to the circle. Hold it like this. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. See how we're doing that? Look how pretty. All right, let's turn it and do it on this side now. Can you make the wiggle on that one? And remember how we're angling our brush like this. Good. All right, you want to add one more petal on this side maybe? So remember how we do it. Start with a dark dot. Dot first. A little bigger. And then rinse. All the way at the bottom of the jar to get all the paint out. Dry it on the paper towel. Just a little bit. Leave a little bit of water in there. If you have to re-wet it with the jar again, that's fine. Now, hold your brush. What do you think?
Good.
Beautiful. Let's let this dry and then we're going to add some stems. So now that our flowers are mostly dry, we can add some green leaves and stems. And remember, you can make these however you want. That's the beauty of loose painted flowers. You can just make them however you want them to be. So I'm going to use this kind of dark green right here with my smaller brush and dab it in the paint a few times to make sure I get a nice thick amount of paint. And then I am going to start with the blue flower here. And I'm just going to paint a skinny little curved line coming down like that. You want to try it? Remember to hold your brush close to the tip so you have more control. And don't cover your flowers when you come down with the stem. Make it kind of look like it's going behind the flowers. Great practice for creating skinny lines. That's a nice stem. Well done. Okay, now let's add a leaf to the bottom of our flower. With the very tip of my pointed round brush, watching me, I'm going to start at the bottom and then paste or flatten my brush down a little bit to make it thicker, and then lift it so it comes to a tiny little point.
Okay.
So we're starting skinny and then getting fatter and then thinner again. Skinny and then squeeze to make it fat and then lift it to make it skinny again. Not bad. Okay, let's add some more leaves to our stem.
That's
Well, how about one coming out the other side? These are the first flowers you've ever painted, aren't they?
Yeah.
All right, let's make a stem coming down from our pink flower. Oops, mine touched my petal was still a little wet, so it started to bleed a little bit. That's okay.
You know, flowers aren't perfect.
Nope. They are never perfect, and even in nature they're not perfect. They kind of go all which ways, and some have broken petals, but that's part of the beauty of it. So how about one more stem coming down from your pink flower? I love your color choices for your flowers. Nice. Let's add a couple more leaves. You can put them anywhere you want. Not bad. No, they're very lovely. Okay, so for one more little detail, we're going to add just some little dark spots in the center of our flower to kind of bring it all together. So just using my brown, I'm just blotting some brown right in the middle, just to make our flowers connect in the middle.
Use this brown?
Yep, that's a good one. That's what I used. And did you see how I was holding it more upright, like straight up and down, and just dabbing like this, kind of like you're stabbing it? You might need a little more water on your paint there, but that looks pretty good. And try that with the pink one. Grab some more paint, and then just do a little boop right in the middle of your pink flower. A little up, straight up and down. Boop. Perfect. And do that with your blue flower. Right, somewhere in the middle. Good. All right, that's beautiful. This was Ansley's first time painting flowers. She's in kindergarten, and this was a little more challenging because we didn't have any guidelines for drawing, but that's the beauty of flowers. You can make them loose and expressive, and they don't have to be perfect. So, thanks for joining us. We hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please be sure to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe if you're new here, and turn on notifications so you never miss any new videos. We'll be posting new content just for kids every Tuesday.
Thanks for watching.